got a new
Woke over here. Watch this.
kit? What?
I'm woke extra.
Oh, no, if JP's woke, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble now. I can't stop singing the theme song. And there are no words.
Yep. Are we fired off?
For Charles, we are geek.
Live from VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
Hey, good morning. It is Wednesday morning. We have got Dr. Be Good with us already this morning. Good morning, Dr. Be Good.
Morning.
How are you? What are we
Happy
kicking
Wednesday.
off? What is the education guru, public ed advocate?
Say
Wanna
that
just
10
be-
times fast.
You should just be a
I'm
public
going to
advocate.
bring up a subject that we should have brought up way before now.
Uh-oh.
How to make
That
is-
scares me.
how to make a
That is, we're going to talk about school nurses.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes. You know, an article in the Tribune caught my attention, and
Yes.
it caught their attention because there's a couple of bills that have been put forth. Now, never have we really thought of the school nurse as, well, what we don't realize is Texas does not require a school nurse in their schools. And so
I did not know
all,
that.
Yep.
Every
And
school I've ever
so-
been involved with has a school nurse. Huh.
Well, you probably have been in big districts with big
True.
schools,
That's
right?
true. That's true. Yes.
And in the rural
Okay.
areas,
Huh.
they don't have school nurses, and because they can't afford them.
Exactly.
And so, a couple of bills coming forth. One is a bill to mandate that that all schools have a school nurse, and that there's a minimum of 750 kids per school nurse, which is a lot. We at our schools we have a a nurse person for less than 400 in Plano, and then we have an RN plus an aide for our kids down there for 1,200 down there. So that's 600 per if you wanted to put it that way. But I can't imagine life without a school nurse during the pandemic, because they're the ones who have been sort of funneling that data. They're the ones who tell parents, right, when their kids have been exposed. And the nurse interviewed in the article said, you can imagine they've been cursed at, they've been physically threatened when, they have to go to parents and say, hey, you've got to quarantine your kid for 14 days. And the parents have just now gotten back to work. All right. And so there's another bill that is out there to start being able to pay school nurses out of safety money. We got a lot of money from for safety in the last few years because of school shootings and because
Yes.
and so forth. So now the bill would allow us to pay for school nurses out of that safety money for those districts who otherwise can't afford it. So a lot of interesting things to think about in the school nurse capacity. When I got to thinking about what I've asked my nurses to do, they were very early on tracking the numbers at each campus, letting us know how many we had, staff versus parents. Matter of fact, we put out a daily email. One of the nurse medics puts out a daily email to the parents to let them know if we've had any issues with kids or staff. And it's very comforting. Almost every day we see 0, 0, 0, 0. And that's, there's some comfort there that we haven't been impacted by COVID today. And so they've also been keeping track of the county health department information, getting that to us and to parents. They've been summarizing coronavirus information for us, and again, getting that out to parents and staff. So they've played a huge role, and we really haven't highlighted them the way they deserved. They may not be seeing, the coronavirus impact at the level that the healthcare workers have, right, with impending death. But in our own way, our school nurses have had to handle a whole lot more than they ever have before. And so kudos to them. And it'll be interesting to see if these bills get passed. There've been bills before to try to mandate school nurses, but they haven't passed. And mostly it's because the rural contingency of legislators have not allowed that to be passed. They can't afford it.
Right.
Maybe now with being able to use safety money, if that other bill passes, there's another funnel of funding that can be made available to more schools to have a school nurse as part of their their school environment. I mean, I've got to say, when I look at the duties that our school nurses have been doing the last few years, we've actually had kids come to our school from private schools who are type 1 diabetics. And the private school does not have a nurse. They don't have anyone to help give the shots. And so we've been actively sought out so that we can help the child with type 1 diabetes learn how to monitor and give his or her own shot, during lunch or before lunch and so forth. So again, unthought of heroes in our schools that have had more added onto their plate besides just, like it said in the article, boo-boos and ice packs, right? That was
right.
During the recess, they oftentimes have to have their little ice bags ready for the knee and the elbow boo-boos, right? But imagine that. Imagine schools not having a school nurse during coronavirus time.
I can't even imagine. I think there's, again, this, and I learned something new about, the school nurses today in Texas. So thank you for that. You're always bringing great new information, even to those of us who consider themselves fairly, quote unquote, educated about education.
Fairly pub and savvy.
Yeah, there you go. But this, again, this is one of those things, this pandemic, it has opened up our eyes to a lot of other issues. And I go back to something, and, I love you've got such a positive way of looking at life, even in the face of really, really tough times. And, you had said, look for COVID blessings. And in education, whether you like what's going on in education, you don't like it, you want your kid back in school, you don't want your kid back in school, you want masks, you don't want masks, whatever the case may be, there are some blessings and some really good best practices that will come out of this.
Well, again, I'll remind people, if you haven't thought about this, how many people do you know this winter that had flu/common cold issues? I don't know of anybody personally that had to stay home because of the flu or common cold. And that is strictly because of the hand washing and mask wearing. And so,
Dr. Good, another part of that could be the fact that we shut down water fountains as well. We're not drinking from water fountains anymore. I know that
Dr. Clothier said that wasn't that big of a deal, though.
Well, I mean, they say every year.
Not that many adults sort of do that anymore, right?
Yeah, because it messes up with up my makeup.
But kids do, though. The kids do.
But as far as adults, you're right. And knock on wood or fiberglass or whatever this table is. Dr. Good, you've known me for a number of years. JP, you've known me for a bajillion years. Usually I end up with the flu and then either bronchitis and pneumonia once, sometimes twice. Year before last, I had, even with the flu vaccine, strain A and B, and ended up with bronchitis with the first one, walking pneumonia that went into pneumonia with the second one. I got to say, this year, now I had a really bad stomach flu back in July that I quarantined because we thought there was a possibility it was COVID. Turned out it was not. But since then, other than my normal allergy things, haven't had a sinus infection, haven't had the flu. Now watch me turn up sick over Easter.
So my point was going towards the fact that there's been a lot of different changes in hygiene, potential openness to infection. Again, kids putting their mouths on water fountains on a regular basis. One of the schools
sharing things
that I know you're aware of is they have water bottle receptors that you can stick your water bottle and get water in lieu of putting your mouth on a water fountain. Also, I think the fewer number of students in the classroom. A lot of schools are operating at 40, 50% versus 100%. I know the other day I was talking with an assistant principal and I said, so are you guys still staggering the time to be in the hallway to change classes, go to lunch, start their day? And they said, no, we don't have to do that because we're at 50%. And so the hallways are plenty wide open where we don't have to stagger going to class. So I think with the hand washing, and again, I don't know why we weren't washing our hands before. It's kind of like the toilet paper crisis of 2020.
Did people not use
Were
toilet
we not
paper
using
before?
that before? But I think just a combination of things, the mask wearing, I think has helped reduce the flu and the intake of the viral numbers that your body would normally take on.
People taking more vitamins, and this is something you talk about all the time, Dr. Good, beefing up your immune system. I'm a big vitamin taker, but I've taken way more during COVID than ever, and I'm always shoveling them down all my family's throats.
Hey, Kathy, dare we think that men are washing their hands after?
I know that makes me insane. Like when we started talking to JP, and we would have different guys on the show, and they were like, "Oh yeah," they're like, "I don't know how many, probably 75% of the guys walk out of the bathroom and don't wash their hands," and I'm like, "What are y'all saying? Whose hands am I shaking? What is happening?"
Well, and truthfully,
Well, and the other good news that some of you may have read is that Pfizer is now saying they have 100% effectiveness rate with giving
that
to kids. 100%.
Heard that.
well,
So, wow. I think we're soon going to be back to normal. Although, here's what I would encourage parents. Parents want us to get back to normal to the point where we pretend we never had COVID in the first place, and we can't ever close that door. We've had 2 school years impacted by COVID, and it has impacted the learning of every single child. Whether your child was gifted or not, your child did not learn as much these 2 years. And so we're asking parents to be open-minded when a district comes and says, "Hey, we want to do intersessions. We want to do a longer calendar year." What we're having is an instinctive parent reaction to say, no, I don't. My son needs to have 2.5 months off during the summer, when every single bit of research says no child needs to have 2.5 months off during the summer because they regress. Every single child whose parent is not diligent, and I don't know of many parents who are diligent during the summer of making sure they're getting the same academic impact during the summer as they would during the school year. And so what if we go to 6 weeks off during the summer? Doesn't that sound already like a long time off for kids? And so
after COVID, it does. Yeah, after COVID, it definitely does.
Went to parents about a longer school year, which it weaves in intercessions during the school year. And of course, we got that traditional pushback about, well, my son needs, my child needs. And it's like, that's not what the research is saying. And no, they don't. Because then we have to spend 3 to 6 weeks reviewing in the new school year instead of moving forward early on with new learning. So parents, let this be an opportunity to hear the school, read the research, be open to the research, and let the schools have a little bit more time to make up for that lost time during these last 2 school years. Most students need that. Even kids that are doing well, they may be doing well this year, but they still did not gain as much as they would have had they been in the classroom with a teacher.
Well, and I think one of the bigger tells is going to be how kids do on the EOCs and STAR testing.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
it's happening.
And if you don't like it, you need to contact your legislators.
Yes. So that's what I bring for you today. Sunday will be actually, thanks to a guest that you had on, Mallory, will be coming on.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, we will be chatting with her in a couple different ways. She is part of the pageant circuit, right?
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about how the pageant has come 21st century. I was part of a pageant for the Asia World in 2019.
Yes.
They did every 2 years. And we were very, very strong about making sure that we gave leadership and poise and just all sorts of 21st century skills.
Communication and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about how that type of competition can be very, very healthy for our females when it's done in the right way. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about her book that she published at this young age. Yes. And more. So We'll see you Sunday at 8.
All right.
Awesome. We'll have a blessed Easter, and we just think the world of you, Dr. Good. Thanks for being part of the crew.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Good.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right.
Good
there
stuff.
we go. Public
Good
education.
stuff. And then we go straight from Dr. Good. We'll have Senator Angela Paxton on with the Senate Minute here in a second.
Well, in about 15 minutes.
Oh, no, she's coming at 8:15 today.
Oh, she is. You
She's
told me
coming on
8:30
8:50.
yesterday.
I did?
You did. You said you didn't know if it was going to be 8:30 or 8:45.
And then I sent you another text and I said 8:15.
didn't get that
8:15.
one.
Well, doggone it. Get in the good cellar. Is she on? Okay, well, she should be on here any second. So if you'll let us know when she's on. But in the meantime,
I'm going to talk Easter.
okay. Well, we can talk Easter.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to
Let's
talk some
talk Easter.
Easter traditions. And are you doing stuff different because of COVID? And, you know, are you physically going to church? Or are you doing it online?
Well, actually, there are a lot of programs out there that are socially distanced, that are scheduled, that if you wanted to participate in something that was Easter,
Physically in a church. Okay.
but you don't necessarily want to go to yours doesn't have something structured or scheduled, then you might want to look online. I know that for a fact, the First Baptist Church of Grapevine,
Right.
and I sent you a link in the email, if you'll pop that up there for me, please. They are doing a huge...
Oh, Angela.
Okay, very
Okay,
good.
excellent.
a huge Easter walk with Christ kind of thing.
Oh.
And I want to explain that when we're done talking with
Oh,
Senator
very
Paxton.
cool. Oh, very cool. Because there are safe Easter egg hunts and all kinds of good stuff and ways to see the Easter bunny. So that's all good stuff going on.
Good morning, Senator Paxton.
Paxton.
Good morning. Okay, I got to start by saying last week we had a lot of AV trouble, right? And y'all have probably heard me say, a friend of mine told me a long time ago, when Satan fell from heaven, he fell into the AV equipment. So anyway, we talked about maybe me coming to you guys from outside the Capitol this week to give that a try and see if it worked better. But I think there were some signal issues that have gotten cleared up, and it's raining. So I'm back here.
Okay.
Well, how are things this week in the Texas Senate?
Seeing you.
Yeah.
So how are things in the Texas Senate this week? What big things have been going on?
It's been a really big week in the Texas Senate. And let me see if I can get you guys on. There we go. It's been a very big week in the Texas Senate. Of course, last week, we were able to pass the Religious Freedom Bill to prevent church closures by executive order. We passed that with great bipartisan support, 28-2. Monday on the Senate floor, it was Pro-Life Day in the Senate. And we heard the Heartbeat Bill. We heard the Human Life Protection Act. We heard the Abortion Non-Discrimination Bill. And we heard the Omnibus Bill, which kind of is a package of all of those. It's another version of all of those in one package. There was also a bill to make sure that that contraception medication or the abortion pill couldn't be sent directly from manufacturers to individuals without going through, a prescription process and that sort of thing. But it was really interesting. This definitely was much more along partisan lines. And, I carried and then something very near and dear to my heart, the Emma, Every Mother Matters Act as well, which is actually designed to connect women who are seeking an abortion with resources that they might not know they're eligible for. And that's to address something that we've learned about women seeking an abortion, which is 3 out of 4 of them say that if their circumstances were different, they'd actually carry the baby to term and have the baby. And so why wouldn't we, knowing that 75% of women are saying, this is not what I want to do, I just don't know what else to do. Why wouldn't we say, you know what, would you be interested in seeing what else is out there that might give you other alternatives? And so that's what the Emma bill is like. And we were able to pass that as well. So
thank goodness.
Very, very interesting. Yesterday, we also heard the big tech bill on Facebook, and that began its process through the Senate floor. I think this is also probably going to be a pretty partisan vote, interestingly enough. And that's basically that, to address the censorship we're seeing based on political viewpoint. And I'll tell you guys a personal experience I had with that. When we started working on the Every Mother Matters Act, this bill I just told you about, that actually doesn't prevent a woman from having an abortion, It just requires that she's given more information before she has it. That bill, we did a great video that was participated in by lots and lots of women saying every mother matters, and that it matters for women to have this information before they make it to a decision they can't turn back, right? That video, the Every Mother Matters Act, was censored by Facebook, and we were told it did not meet their community standards.
Wow. Are you serious?
So political viewpoint is being censored on social media. We all know that this is true.
Oh, yeah.
But that bill began its hearing on the floor yesterday. And then I think today very well may be the day that the election integrity legislation is introduced on the Senate floor. We also passed heard in committee some more on the composition of the ERCOT board. That's one of the bills that is a priority in the Senate this session. And then on the floor, we passed Senate Bill 3, which is addressing the reform and the weatherization and all of those things that we kind of learned from the storm process.
Wow. You've been busy.
So not much, John.
Just
not much going on.
Just a little bit.
You are definitely underpaid and underworked for sure. You don't have enough to do.
You know what? I always have joked around. Y'all know I was a teacher before I began my time in the Senate, and I always tell people I didn't know there was something you could be downwardly mobile from being a teacher, but I found it. You know.
Yes, you.
But you know what? But I think you see this in a lot of what we call the helping professions. They're not very highly paid. Public service is one, but you look at public service. That's our police officers. That's our firefighters. That's our teachers, right. And they aren't highly paid professions. But the people that go into these professions don't go into it for the money. That's for sure. They go into these things because they want to make a difference, and many times they've had experiences in their lives with people in those professions that really made a profound difference in their lives, and it's their way of giving back. So it's a good thing. It's not about the money, I think, but it's important. And I'm just really thankful to have people like you to help me let folks know what we're doing and give me another way of getting input in the work that we're doing while we're in these last 60 plus days of session.
Right, because we're coming down to the wire. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to tell you what their thoughts are on different bills, what's the way? And we talked about this a little bit last week, but how can they follow the different bills? And then how do they get in touch specifically with you?
Yeah, the best way to follow the bills in the House and the Senate is the Texas Legislature online. The address for that is www.capitol.texas.gov. And you can follow specific bills by number. You can follow them in the House and the Senate. You can also follow bills by author, and you can follow certain members that maybe your representative, your senator, you can follow the things that they're doing. And you can also see what kind of committee hearings are being posted. Those are usually posted, a couple of days in advance on what bills are going to be heard. If you want to testify, that's the time to do it. The time to be involved is at the committee level. I mean, that's very important in the Senate and the House. And you can submit written testimony, and you can also come to the state capitol and testify in person, but you have to sign up in advance.
Okay.
Or they like you to. So I'm not saying you can never testify if you don't sign up in advance, but it helps. And when you get here, there are kiosks outside the different committee rooms so that you can register that you are going to testify on that day.
Excellent.
So, Senator Paxton, Dr. Be Good has a question. She wants to know if you have seen an increase in mail traffic or contacts from parents and educators this session versus other sessions.
I don't know actually about the frequency on that. I'll ask my staff to kind of update me on that. What I usually have them do is that they're kind of briefing me on a day-by-day basis on, we're getting a lot of calls about this issue or this issue. So, I did have a Zoom call earlier this week with retired teachers in my district, and so on some of the things that matter to them. But there are a lot of education issues that are going to be coming up. One of the things people may not know is that the TEKS are going to be revisited in the shortly. Yes. And when that happens, it's going to be really important to make sure that families are paying attention to the new standards for our public schools. I've got a bill, basically, if y'all may or may not be familiar with what we call the SHACs. It's not the book or the movie, the SHAC, but it's the School Health Advisory Councils. And these are committees or kind of a group of community members that are tasked with looking at the health curriculum specifically, because that is where sex education information goes through for the schools, and a lot of other things that are considered kind of controversial. And we know that at the local level, it matters to get good input. Yes. And anyway, one of the those recommendations are sent from the SHAC to the school board, and then they approve or don't approve those. So one of the things that we found over time, though, is that those meetings are not always very transparent. They're not always very well publicized. And so things kind of start happening under the radar without people having a lot of notice. And so I have a bill that would put the SHACs under the open records for transparency purposes, so people can be required to know when those things are happening, and they can know what's happening in curriculum with their kids' schools.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Well, and again, anything that's going to educate parents and help keep the educators and everybody in the loop that needs to be in the loop. We've got to be all for that. We talk about transparency, but parents really need transparency, and especially I think now throughout the pandemic, parents are hungrier for that. And so anything that y'all can do to get more information out about their child's education to parents, it's huge. It's just huge.
For sure. Well, and there's transparency, which is more of a passive thing, for the public, right? I can see what's happening.
Right.
But then there's also advocacy. Yes. And I really do want to encourage people to take the transparency so that they can engage in advocacy, so that they can let people know, let their elected representatives know what they want, what their position is. So that action happens from that, because we don't only want people to see what's happening. We want the government we have is about not just knowing, but being able to do something about it. Government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Amen.
Senator, if I can just for a moment, talk about the border crisis, what's going on. We live a long way away from the border. Texas is a big state, but we really don't. The border's been brought to us. We're now busing children into Dallas. These children are walking out of the convention center, not coming back. They get on DART. They're going to be heading to the suburbs, Plano, Allen. They're going to be heading to Carrollton. They're going to be heading to Garland.
To other states.
But I'm just us, though.
Yeah.
I'm worried
and there are kids who are in these detention centers. And finally, now that some cameras have gotten in there, have you seen any of the pictures? Yeah. They're bawling. I mean, these children are scared to death and just crying nonstop.
Right.
That's horrible.
My question is, do we see something coming out of the Texas legislature that's going to address what's going on at the border? I know it's a federal issue, generally speaking, but it's definitely impacting our state and how our state operates and the health of our state. I mean, we've got kids and parents and families walking in with COVID-19 unrestricted and heading out into the population.
Well, you bring up such a great point, and it's something that is on just right in our faces, literally. As you said, we don't live close to the border, but the border's been brought to us. Yes. And, it isn't safe, it isn't smart, and it isn't sustainable what's happening at the border. And one of the things that's very frustrating at the state level is how our hands are tied with regard to immigration policy. It is federal policy, even though we have invested as a state hundreds of millions of dollars over the last several years, putting our own, officers, DPS on the border because of the failure of the federal government to do its job. I think we talked a little bit last week about my trip with my female colleagues in the Republican colleagues in the Senate down to the border.
Yes.
And we were briefed by DPS and Border Patrol. This is not a failure of personnel, of people not doing their jobs. This is a failure of policy. And, they've got, at one of the detention centers that we were able to tour, we were denied entry to one, but we were able to tour another one. They said they've got 700 kids coming in every night. That was last week. Those numbers are escalating because as they take these border agents off the line to process all of these people that are walking across and just turning themselves in. They're not even sneaking across. They're just coming across and turning themselves in to border agents because they know they've been coached to do that, and that will get them somewhere where they can be fed and they can, have a place to sleep and all of that. That number keeps growing because when they pull border agents off of patrol to process, there are more gaps and more can come over. The big difference that we were told by Border Patrol and DPS, what has created this escalation in numbers is the lifting of the stay in Mexico policy by the Biden administration. At the beginning of the COVID pandemic, President Trump was able to issue an order of the border because of the health situation, because we needed to not have all these people coming across that potentially have COVID and all sorts of other diseases. These kids are not coming across with their immunization records, as you can imagine.
Right.
So anyway, that policy required that while people were seeking asylum, seeking whatever, that didn't prevent them from pursuing the process, but they had to wait for their day in court on the Mexico side.
Right.
Now they come across. And of course, that has exploded the numbers. The cartels are the ones that are making money doing this, smuggling people across the border. They're making over $11 million a week, human smuggling, just in the Del Rio sector alone. And that's not the highest level of traffic. That's the second highest level of traffic across the border. So I would just say, continue to make your voice heard. Please make sure that your U.S. Senator and U.S. Representatives, Congressmen know about this issue. And make your voice heard. I think it matters that we aren't silent on this, but it isn't safe. It isn't smart, and it isn't sustainable. So I am sorry, I have to hop off
No
for another
worries.
conversation, but I really appreciate what you do, and thanks for having me on the show every week. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week. And I guess one other thing I would just like to leave you with is I hope people see how diligently we are working on the things that have been highlighted as priorities by people who love this country and love this state. We are moving those things through the Senate, getting them over to the House so that they have the best chance to pass. And I just ask for everyone's prayers as the process works itself out, that we will accomplish good policy for the people of Texas.
Well, and God bless you, and thank you. We love you being part of the crew. We really do appreciate your time, and we are wishing you a very blessed Easter. Enjoy that grandbaby with that grandbaby.
Thank you, y'all too.
Easter.
All right, we'll
safe.
talk to you soon. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. A ton going on. And
the Senate has been very busy, JP.
They have.
Very busy.
I don't want to get into border talk. I just want to mention this and move on. But they're getting $5,000 to $10,000 a person to be smuggled across the border. That's at $11 million a week.
I had not heard that figure.
Oh, yeah.
You are kidding me.
Nope. I mean, when you can fit 15 people into a Suburban, and they're $5,000 to $10,000 a person. I mean, there you go. All right.
When do we start treating people like cattle?
Well, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So back to the first. If you'll put the link back up, please, Chambrielle. about First Baptist of Grapevine. I've already put a link in there. If you wanted to do a Google search, you can click on that. It'll bring up all the really cool.
Excellent.
And we'll show that here in just a minute. Really cool things that are going on for this Easter weekend. But FBC Grapevine, what they've done is they have recreated that 40 days.
Okay.
And the walk that Christ took, so you can, when you go in and do this, first of all, you have to get on a time slot.
Right.
And so it's not something you can just show up for. That's one way they're being able to keep everybody at a safe distance and all of that, right? So if you'll just go ahead and come on back down just a wee bit for me, Chambriel. There we go. So the Good Friday experience, remembering his great sacrifice. And you're going to be able to hold the crown of thorns.
Wow.
You're going to be able to put a nail into the cross. You're going to be able to carry the cross so you can feel the weight.
This gives me chills.
Of that. So that entire, everything that Jesus Christ touched.
From the second he
felt,
went into Jerusalem,
including
with Palm Sunday,
that's right, all of it.
through Good Friday. Wow.
Yes. So the
and through the
herbs,
resurrection, him rising.
Yes. You'll be able to smell the bitter herbs and.
Who's doing this again? This is amazing.
First Baptist Grapevine.
Oh, this is a huge find,
I've
JP.
already signed up.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, I've already signed up to take my dad and go over there. Courtney and I, my dad, are going to go.
Love it.
And do this. It's free. Doesn't cost anything to do it.
This.
So a great opportunity. All you got to do is just click on the Remembering His Great Sacrifice, and you can sign up, put your information in. But again, it's last year we did a driving tour during COVID out in Deerfield.
Remember we had the ladies on, the moms who put this together, and it was so wonderful. Both of our families got a chance to do this, and a number of people who are members of the crew did this, and it was the Stations of the Cross.
Right.
And different homes had different Stations of the Cross. And you did a QR code, and you got to see the different stations and how these families had decorated their lawns accordingly. That was awesome. I forgot about that. That was awesome.
So another opportunity, churches are open.
Yes.
People are going to be able to go to church service.
And some churches, and especially on Easter Sunday, you got to sign up ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
If you'll bring up the other link now that I sent you, Chambriel, this is a good link if you want to find out what's going on in the Metroplex.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to scroll down to, well, I don't have to scroll down. It's number 2 on the list, dfwchild.com. And
they always have good free stuff year round.
And that's why I always like to start with them.
Yep.
So they have the coolest Easter egg hunts already planned out and the whole 9 yards. And so you
There's
can
some
go
glow
on.
in the dark Easter egg hunts that I saw that are available because, again, churches trying to spread out, how many kids come when. So they've got nighttime things, glow in the dark Easter egg hunt. If you've got an older kid, how cool is that?
That's way cool.
If you're an
So
adult,
here's
how
the
cool is
DFW
that?
Child, and what they have the 18 Easter parties for fun-loving peeps. And so you just scroll down. They have the Irving Citywide Egg Hunt that's going to be going on. Price of admission is free. The Wettest Egg Hunt. How about that? Get off dry land and hunt for prize stuffed Easter eggs in the Rex indoor pool.
Oh, now that's cool.
Yes. Hunts will be divided by age groups to allow everyone ample time and space to grab their share of eggs. Life vests will be available for non-swimmers. Now, that's $5 per person because you got to cover the cost of the lifeguards. But how cool is that?
I love it.
Now, how about the electric egg hunt? How about that? Silly rabbit egg hunts are for teens.
Sounds like Electric Avenue.
I know, right?
And then we take it
Well,
higher.
this is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's after the sun goes down, enter this black light egg hunt to win
so
prizes
cool.
and enjoy an evening with friends. The Keller Point provides black light flashlights and chances to win prizes from local vendors. Pack a picnic and blanket or visit the food and beverage stations. Make sure to call and register. The cost for that is $20 per person in advance and $25 for the day of the event. The Funny Bunny Festival at Lone Star Toyota of Louisville. That's a fun program as well. And then, so they've got a list. I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's just some of the highlights. dfwchild.com. Again, I put the link in for all the Google links into the feed. So if you don't have anything for the kids to do.
And while you're mentioning these, Chambriel, I've got some pictures on email that I sent to you because I pulled up some old pictures of things I had done for the kids that are good in case you were assisting the Easter Bunny in deliveries on Sunday.
There you go.
So keep going, JP. Sorry.
So the Dallas Arboretum, of course, is doing an entire Easter weekend program. You just need to go on their website, find out the details of that. Of course, you have to pay for admission to get into that. You have this is kind of a cool deal. It's called AroundTownKidsFrisco.com. And so very family friendly. They have Easter events all throughout the Frisco area that are going to be going on, and you can catch that at that website. And then, of course, if you wanted to dial it in, Easter Weekend Dallas 2021, you go to www.214area.com, and you'll find all kinds of things going on around the Dallas area.
So Easter 2021, it sounds like, because, we've had a year of the pandemic. I know last year for Easter, a lot of people were depressed. We talked about this. They had a hard time, even going out and getting Easter baskets for their kids and things of that nature. And, what did you do? We were just starting to get into, okay, well, some churches had online services, some didn't. People were afraid to get together with their family. I think now that we're a year past this, it sounds like there's so many more opportunities, and please take advantage of them because this is such a celebration for the Christian community, but also for the mental health and well-being of you and your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and I love the experiences outside of the church services. Love the church service.
Oh, absolutely.
Easter service is amazing.
Oh, huge.
More than likely, we will watch Easter service on TV.
But you're going to go out and do the grapevine thing,
yes.
which I love that.
We're going to go do the event. And so...
And can you imagine the impact that has on a little kid?
Oh, man. Lifting the crown of thorns and...
Can't imagine, because, there's Passion of the Christ, which is a movie that we like to watch, pretty much annually. But that's really graphic, and that's tough for a 5-year-old or even a 7 or 10-year-old. But then you've got other opportunities.
Well, it's super cool.
Yeah.
And you're going to see other things that are like that throughout the church community. So in your church community, if you're looking for something to do on Easter, go on their website. You can send emails to your personnel, your church personnel. They'll have the information. They can email you as well. And then, of course, like I said, Easter service for us will probably be at home, because I'll probably wear Dad out walking through the grapevine.
Right. Well, and then,
so.
you've been concerned, my mom's probably going to come over this Easter service. And again, a little bit nervous about going to church still with COVID. And I get that. We went to Palm Sunday last Sunday, obviously, and no issues whatsoever. But Shambrell, can you pull up some of those pictures that I sent to our email? Just some fun things that I've done. Not me.
There she goes.
I try to get creative in assisting the
do keep
Easter
in mind.
Bunny.
Look at how young CJ is.
Oh yes, because hence the smile on his face. I do have a funny picture at the end that's very CJ even now, even when he was young. But anyway, so this is one of these things. I took these glass jars that I got on sale at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. These vases. I stuck cylinder pieces of foam in each one. Put Easter. Are these up on the screen yet? Can the audience see these yet? Oh, there we go. So we had, I put jelly beans all around, just did some little cut out eggs, some little fake carrots, and some, you can flip to the next one because it's more of a close-up of the kids with this. And, these were just little gifts from the Easter Bunny. Very inexpensive. Everything was on sale. And
the Easter Bunny sent you a list, right?
Oh,
and
the
you
Easter Bunny totally had, it was
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I need assistance this year, Miss Kathy. And I was like, okay, so, hey, when you're a parent, you will assist the Easter Bunny when needed. So that was me assisting the Easter Bunny. You're very correct, JP. And if you'll flip to the next one, this was another year. As you can tell, the kids are getting older and the looks on their face like, really, Mom? So again, assisting the Easter Bunny. And that picture just cracks me up. This year, the Easter Bunny had me help in assistance with what turned out to be the dirt or Oreo cookies that are crumbled up. Then there are edible Easter eggs that are jelly beans. The green grass you see, edible green grass. And then the carrots that the Easter Bunny brought this year were strawberries dipped in orange chocolate And I believe the Easter Bunny got that at either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You melt that, you dip the strawberries, and they end up looking like carrots in a little dirt patch. So kind of another fun thing. And then, anyway, those are just a couple ideas. Here's another thing. We're real big. The kids and I have always left notes and stuff for Santa. You know, as we've talked about, Santa gets queso, Krampus gets Shinerbach and Cheetos. The Easter Bunny gets V8, broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots every year. And so this was just, kind of left over. The Easter Bunny had wiped his little face and whiskers on an Easter napkin and had taken some bites out of the vegetables and obviously crushed the can of V8. That's good. So just fun stuff that's inexpensive. Oh, and then flip to the next picture. I posted this for you, JP. Okay, so this is CJ at age 3, but as an 80-year-old.
I've seen this picture.
It's just so funny because Emily's like, "Oh, the Easter Bunny," and CJ's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. Who are you, dude?
So there's creative ways that you can work with the Easter Bunny. Last year, the Easter Bunny brought the kids carrot cake flavored popcorn. So there's different fun things to do, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Just get creative and go grab some stuff on sale and have a good time with your kids, especially while they're younger.
And there you go.
There you go. Or actually, it's kind of funny. The older they get, and the Santa and Easter Bunny are still delivering,
right.
It becomes a really humorous morning.
But again, for the children that are listening, Miss Kathy gets the list or the phone call.
I get text messages lately
from the
Easter Bunny saying, "Can you get these things ahead of time?" And then stuff's done by the time we wake up the next morning.
So there you go.
There you go. Good stuff.
Party on,
Fun
rock
stuff.
on. All right. So
speaking of partying,
that's right. Grogu.
Woo.
Grogu, we're looking for your acceptance of March Madness.
Oh, Grogu was pulling for Michigan.
He was pulling for Michigan.
He wanted that 30-year Fab Five. But Grogu, overall, has March Madness been great? Yes.
Yes, there he goes. He loves that.
Yes.
Yeah, wipe the brow on that one. So tell you what, how exciting has March Madness been? First of all, been way good. Way good.
Yeah.
I think even with
So
COVID, I think
great.
COVID has made it an interesting run for March Madness. I think, if I'm not mistaken, only one team was taken out of the bracket. Somebody help me out there. Coach Q, Nathan, help me out there. But I think only one team was taken out of the bracket due to COVID. But I think that also, based on how the season was played, how teams prepared, I think you saw a lot of high-end, a lot of high-end teams take down a lot of low-ranked teams. And of course, that that's the reverse, right? So like number ones are low end, high end are 13.
Right.
And so the bottom line is that it's been a very interesting March Madness.
It has.
Schools like ACU, Abilene Christian University, walks away with a $20 million payday.
Wow. What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For winning that game, the school got $20 million.
I had no idea stakes were that high.
Yeah,
wow.
and I think if I'm not mistaken,
it was just bragging rights and a big old trophy and part of the net.
And I think Oregon State, if I'm not mistaken, I heard this, walked away with $34 million.
Oh my goodness! If somebody knows all these statistics, for sure. Just so you're seeing all this.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a very interesting, very fun tournament to watch. Maybe it's been more electric because
we didn't have it last year.
Right, didn't have it last year. And also the fact that it's a little different this year. No Duke, no North Carolina, no Kentucky.
Some of the big ones that are always around till, at least the Elite Eight, usually the Final Four and beyond. Some of the big names weren't there. I mean, you've got Houston, who it's been since Houston, it's been
50 years. Baylor was 50 years.
Baylor since 1950, 71 years. And then Houston, it's been 37 years, I think. Anyways, at least 30 years, I think more than that, because the last time Houston did well and went to the championship was Phi Slamma Jamma with Clyde Drexler, which, interestingly enough, I was texting with you and Coach when the Houston game was going on. It was just edge of your seat game. And I said, okay, so Houston won. The last time they went this far was with Clyde Drexler in, the Phi Slamma Jamma years. And remember, I picked Drexler Drexel to go to the Final Four. So I said, so Coach, am I kind of close? Because my emotional pick was.
Oh yeah, I saw him put go Drexel. I'm like, whatever. I had to go back and look at my bracket and go, did Drexel win a game? And I missed something. I mean, and they hadn't.
And it's funny, CJ, and then CJ, you know, who grew up his young years into elementary school with Drexler, our cat, he was like, "That's how you got that name, Mom?" And I'm like, "Yes."
That's why it's only you and Chuck at the bottom.
with no teams.
Actually,
but it's been exciting.
MB team is below you.
Who?
MB team. You have moved up to number 14.
What is happening?
Yeah, dogs are marrying cats.
God, yeah, dogs and cats living together.
So, well, of course, what's interesting is that you've got a very interesting pick of Baylor University to win the whole thing, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of our 16 teams have picked Baylor University to win the whole thing.
Right.
Gonzaga has 3 people that have picked Gonzaga. We've got one University of Houston, and then an Alabama and an Illinois in there. So very interesting how our bracket has come out.
And Gonzaga's, gosh, it wasn't even a game last night.
Yeah,
when
no,
they played
Gonzaga
USC.
looks
I mean,
very
good.
good.
They kind of, you watch them, and it'll be interesting to see when they get paired up against whoever they get paired up against. I mean, JP, they're in a league of their own. When you're watching them, you're like, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, and I put this out there last
they're
night.
good. They're good.
I think with Fredo, I put this out there and said that, hey, you know what? Gonzaga better strap down because here comes UCLA. And UCLA,
and they've got the emotional edge right now. And they're playing for their coach who they love and their coach's dad who they love. And those guys are on fire.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're shooting lights out. I mean, it's almost like they're playing pro basketball.
Their last 2 games, they've literally blown me away.
Yeah.
I mean, when they went against Arkansas, when it went into overtime was like Arkansas sat down. It was like UCLA just had a run of the court. It's gonna be interesting. So when are those games? I think Saturday. Are they both Saturday?
You've got Final Four games on Saturday at 8:34, and then on Saturday at 5:14.
Okay.
So the 5:14 game will be Baylor and Houston.
Yeah.
So the All Texas bracket.
Well, we may be a house divided because Michael's sick and Bears, and I think I'm going to have to go with my emotional favorite, which will be Houston.
Well, not me. I'm going Sick'em Bears because I picked Sick'em
Yeah,
Bears to win the whole thing.
And I picked them to win the whole thing, but this will just be more fun.
You're out of control. I'm done with you.
I have no chance
done
of
with
winning
you.
the brackets in any way, shape, or form. I'm surprised that anybody's below me at this point because I just went so off the rails this year. When you find out how I picked my points, when we talk next week, when we come back, you'll be like, oh, I'm done.
I'm out. Well, I will say this, though, Kathy. You have been watching the games.
Oh, I love them. I
You have
love
been
them.
watching
There's so
the
much.
games.
There's so much fun. Well, and here's the thing. Before I had kids, I mean, I've still got a Michigan jersey somewhere from the Fab 5 days. I watched, since the 80s. I was a huge NCAA basketball fan. Followed it to where back in the day, before I had kids, if you would have asked me to pick brackets, which I did in some cases, I was almost always picked the Final Four right. But then you have kids and you start coaching kids sports and going to kids this, that, and the other, and your weekends and your nights are no longer your own. So it's kind of been fun to get out there, and I can stay up till 11 o'clock, or I can watch on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. So, so it's, it's just been fun.
You've been watching.
It's just fun.
But here's the fun part about the whole March Madness. It's brought us all together. And it's given us something to talk about and something to be exciting
about. Talking about it on social media. Have you seen that? Like everybody's, and people are pinging each other, and I mean, and we need that. We desperately need that, JP.
So it's a lot of fun. But going into this final game, here you go. UCLA will bring defense. I don't know that Gonzaga has faced defense like UCLA's defense because that's what's gotten them into the Final Four. So we'll see how they react. Although on the other side of that, I know that UCLA has not seen the powerhouse offense like a Gonzaga. And so it's going to be interesting.
Players that they've got players that the pros have got to be just chomping at the bit.
Oh, sure.
There's a couple, one in particular looks amazing.
So it'll be interesting what the coaches do to get ready for the big game. Of course, University of Texas Lady Longhorns, I've got to put in a word. They were exited out of the tournament yesterday by South Carolina.
Baylor
And
was
so-
too. There was a foul that should have been called, and I know coach is going to say, "Well, they missed some free throws. They had some." I get that, but at the end of that game, you could see Coach Malky was ticked, and she should have been. Literally, it was just it was overtly such a foul that should have been called at the end, where we could have tied it and we could have gone into overtime, and they just let it go. And I'm like, where are the refs? Are they watching?
Yeah.
So I feel like the Lady Bears should have been Final Four. But,
Well, here's here's the thing, right? And one of my favorite quotes, first of all, is one of Coach Mulkey's quotes, which is one of the reporters asks her, "Hey, at the end of the game, that was clearly a no call. It was a foul.
Yes.
Do you have any comment on that?" And she goes, "I think you've said it all. I don't think." She goes, "Print what you just said."
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more to say.
Yeah.
So, very interesting game with the Lady Bears. Sad to see them exit out. At least they lost to UConn.
Well, and
I mean, if you have to lose to somebody,
and let me and that
That's
they
a
are
storied program.
phenomenal.
Right.
They are phenomenal.
yeah, that's a storied program.
Coach Quigley said we need to get our Houston Astro ball caps ready.
Yeah,
Okay,
I see
Coach.
him. I see him. So, without going into baseball, staying with March Madness, because I don't want to talk about Odor yet and him seeing the door.
we'll be Hodor. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, Odor was given the door.
No, I'm I'm Game of Thrones.
Right.
My head went.
No,
My
I saw
mind
you
went
go there.
there.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing when we look
Oh.
at the top 5 in our league, and that's gotten a little bit tighter. That's
Are you still
changed
on
up.
number 1?
You know it, baby.
Go JP.
I'm still number 1. You're number 1. Oh, sorry.
You're simply the best.
Right.
Da-na-na.
So, Judd Gibson right there with me at number 2. In fact, I think Judd Gibson and I
Are y'all tied?
Well, no, I'm
Oh,
first.
you're
He's
one.
second.
Okay.
But I think we now walk into the finals the same bracket. So that's why
okay.
Fred is trying to declare me the winner of our bracket.
And okay, gotcha. Well, and so then it would come down to points.
Wait, but,
That-
well, no, I don't even think points because we're gonna
And this what y'all are just
we're
y'all are
yeah. I mean,
hand in hand.
If it all wins out, I'll still be 4 points ahead. Fredo is number 3, so it's me, it's Judd Gibson, Fred.
And who y'all have all picked Baylor.
So far, yes.
win,
I was
okay.
going to say that the top 4 have picked Baylor to win.
And I think we all would love to see Baylor win over Gonzaga. It is going to be one heck of a game.
Yes. Nathan
comes
Wynn
down
is
to
in
those two.
4th place
Who does he have as his champion?
Baylor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
top 4. And then Bobby Ward has snuck back into 4th place.
Oh, okay.
As
Tied for
well.
4th?
Yes, tied for 4th.
Okay.
He has picked the University of Houston.
Yes.
So that's going to be an interesting call there. And then I got to give it out to him, Cufford Johnson, Marvin. He has moved himself up to number 6.
There you go.
So there you go. And he
Good
has
times.
also picked Baylor. So basically the top 6 teams in our league have all picked Baylor except for
Who has
Bobby, who's picked University of Houston.
So we'll know on Saturday if he's even got a shot with that. And again, you know,
Right.
that's an emotional thing for those of us from Texas. You know, unless you've got allegiance to one school over another. Didn't a couple of folks pick Gonzaga to win, or at least
Well, yeah.
one person?
Yeah, Joni Pickle, Michelle Butler, they picked Gonzaga to win. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, so we're excited. Are we still going to do a little get together up here
Well,
Monday evening?
If we do, we got to put that out.
We got to put that out. Okay.
Michelle's gonna
kind
take
of
your
everybody
back.
bring your own chip and dip. Bring your own beer. Bring your own beer.
I would say BYOB because you know what you like to drink.
Yep, and then maybe we'll order some pizzas or something.
Well, I'll bring up some snack foods.
Okay,
We'll
and
do
I'll bring up some
wings
chips and
stuff
dips.
like
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Well, we've got to get the invite out.
We need to do that. Okay, Michelle, help us with that today.
Oh, good luck. Michelle's been on us for 2 weeks.
I know. She's like, okay, kids, how many questions have I asked y'all?
Yeah, 2 weeks she's been on that. So, but I think the music is starting to play as we get ready to head
Already?
out.
And have a blessed Easter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday's coming up, Easter Sunday. We'll be rebroadcasting probably this show on Friday. And then now we do have This Pink Cloud. We've got the Lawyer Show. All those will still be live like normal. Dr. Good's show will be a live
Live on
news show
Sunday,
Sunday. And then we'll be back in studio on
Wednesday.
So spend some time with our family and everything. So we love y'all and Easter blessings to everybody. And
Easter blessings to
have
everybody.
a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.
She's like, get it together, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle. Just tell us what to